starting, so we're going to let everybody join. I'm Amy Sikarsky. Hi. Let's see, let me put a little bit of my info here. And we're waiting for Dharma to join. I'm so excited. We are going to have a live today with Dharma, so let me post her info. Hopefully, oh, there she is. Hopefully I'm going to put this all in correctly. So welcome everybody. So Dharma's here. We're going to invite her on the screen. And let's see if we can do this. 1 second. Okay, Dharma. So it should pop up for you. Hi!
That was so simple. I'm so happy. So this is my first time live with Amy.
I know.
How are you? It's so nice to see you. I'm so happy.
To see you.
Hi, how are you? I want to say thank you to you and your beautiful community. And I also want to say thank you to my own community that is right here, right now with all of us.
Right? This is so nice to meet. So we've talked on the phone a couple times and we thought, why don't we do a live together?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
everyone, if you haven't met Dharma, I pinned her information and you can go check out her feed after. She's
How do you
awesome.
pin somebody? I want to pin your information too.
I put mine on there. Yeah. Oh well, mine didn't pin correctly. Maybe I need to redo it. Yeah, it's
No.
Let me redo it real quick. It's got my last name. You know, my thing auto-populates sometimes, and it put the wrong information in for myself. But let me put it in for you while everybody is joining. And while I'm doing that, do you want to let everybody know, just tell them a little bit about yourself and you know, any info you got?
Yes, sure. Well, I am a human being like everybody else. I work in service. I work in service of everybody that feels like is resonating with me, like Amy does. So we have so many things in common, and I work with light and with energy, and yeah. That's pretty much it, you know. So my life is just a life in service and lived happily in love.
Yeah. So whenever I tune in with your vibration, it's always so high frequency, and you're always inspiring everyone and just like bringing this light and love to our community. And I'm sure like everybody that you get to meet personally, because you're in California, right? So everybody in your area, which I just love and adore. I think that's so nice. We can just unite and bring about all this positivity.
It is so beautiful that we're actually doing this, and you know, like your energy is off the hook, sister. And I'm just so excited because it's always beautiful, you know, like to connect with like-hearted human beings, and it's something that really, I mean, it's so inspirational, and we always have to keep our vibrations high, you know what I mean? Like in this beautiful world that needs more love. And when we connect, we're doing so much even without realizing. And first of all, we're being of service of ourselves, you know, so this is what I feel. And it's like by doing that, we're actually serving the highest good for ourselves and our own community, which is the whole planet in the end, you know, like we're all serving each other. So I just want to say that I'm very excited, very happy, and I was a little nervous because I didn't know how that new feature was working, you know, that you can add somebody to your live. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know anything about it.
I know, right? Yeah, I totally, I just had to hit a button. Yeah, I totally am with you. Sometimes the connection for the live will get a little fuzzy, but if it does, we'll just let it work itself out. But you offer coaching? Is that what I know you offer services for people. Is it life coaching?
You know, like I offer readings, coaching, a lot of services that, you know, if you guys are interested in knowing more about, you know, my services, you can go on my website, or you can just go on the bio, my link, you know. So, but yeah, awesome. You know, like I'm just so excited about our conversation today and just being here all together. And I I feel like, whoa, I needed this. I love this. Yay!
Yeah, for sure. And we were both thinking, it was like, it just came to me immediately when you texted me, said, what should our topic be? And I was like, self-love. And you were like, boundaries. And they just go so beautifully together. And so we thought we would talk about that because it's what we were both given, the information, or just inspired. So a little bit about myself for your community that's viewing is I do energy therapy and readings as well, and past life regressions, and my background's in the medical. I'm a nurse, and so just transitioned into this work. And again, there's more info on my website as well. So like we're both just like really in tune, and when we got those messages, it's like, okay, that is it. That is our topic for our live, our very first lives together, and I think it's perfect. So
it really is.
Yeah, and we're just going unscripted, just like visiting.
Exactly, you go, sister. Like, what would you like to share about? Like, what is the main thing that comes to mind, comes to heart when you're thinking about the boundaries and self-love?
Yeah. Okay, let me just jump right in. So I was always a very reserved child. You know, I think I was labeled as shy or whatever. I was just very quiet, reserved, if you will, when I was younger. And now, like, I'm doing Instagram lives. It's a huge experience for me to transition into this level. But in the process of like growing up and just being who I was, I didn't really want to you know, like hurt people or like have my parents disapprove of me, you know. So sometimes I would do things to please other people and not put myself first, and it followed me through, you know, like just into my adulthood. And then it was like, okay, so what happens is when this is a part of our personality, or some people might relate a different way. They say if you are, you know, if you resonate with being able to have self-love and boundaries so we can help others, and that's basically where it just breaks down. So having different experiences where perhaps I didn't provide for myself first, and then to see the end result is just we just get so burnt out. And so in order to help others and to do the work that we do on so many different levels of our energy and just our emotion and ourself, self-love needs to be a pivotal like foundation for that. And so for you, have you had experiences where it go ahead and share with me a little bit about, and our audience, just a little bit about your experience with self-love.
I totally resonate with your experience, and I feel, you know, when we're sensitive and we feel everybody's emotions, you know, like that's the life of an empath, you know, like you feel, you're tuned into what other people feel and what they're going through, and our own evolution. So it's a massive amount of, I don't know, till you actually understand that it's really okay to just focus on you and just honor whatever you're meant, you know. And so it took me a long time to get to that point, because me too, I was putting everybody first. All the people that I love most, I was putting them first, and I was not totally respecting and honoring my own boundaries. So you see, actually, you know, like self-love, like you said at the very beginning, is so connected to boundaries. You know what I mean? So the two things are they just go hand in hand. They cannot be self-love without putting healthy boundaries. And the thing, you know, I come from Eden culture. Much more, I don't mean this kind of family that is society, like your first society is your family, you know, and then you have, you know, like external society experience is that we have a little bit of difficulty feel as if we are depriving the other, you know, like this is like also culturally we have that, you know, going on. So it was very hard, you know, like for me to actually put myself first. But in the moment in which I realized that if I didn't do it, I was actually losing all my energy, and was not really, I was not opening up, you know, like in the way that I mean, everything happens in the right timing, you know, and at the right moment and with the right people. Everything is just right the way that it is. But I would have probably opened up sooner if I understood that concept of boundaries. But guess what? I was meant to understanding in that moment because I needed to do my learning from it, you know.
Right.
And, so, you know, we go through patterns. And so for me also, putting boundaries was a big deal. And once I learned it, I was like, wow, so this is actually something positive myself in the way I put boundaries. And I'm also honoring the other person. I am also teaching them, you know what I mean? So that's probably like, that's what really, and like doing it lighthearted, you know what I mean? Not feeling like I was doing anything wrong, because I am not any fault. At the same time, it's a win-win kind of situation, able to see until we are like, okay, oh, so yeah, oh wow, you know, like we need that moment in which we're like the wow moment that we actually understand it.
Right.
So yeah. So when was your wow moment? Do you remember? Do you have anybody like in particular? Do you have that wow moment?
I did. My wow moment was when, well, you know, I started to have friendships that going into it, I was like, oh, I don't know if it's like really in the best vibration. Like maybe their belief system isn't where mine is, and that's okay. Or maybe like their morals and ethics aren't right where I am, and that's okay. And I kept making allowances until then it was like people started identifying me with this other person and my character with their character, because I would make a lot of allowance and let them into my life so much when we weren't a really good match. And so that was just, you know, it's like a fine line, because I was just trying to show a lot of love, and I do see people like, because I see energy and I work with people and I work at the soul level, and so it was just like coming at that approach. But what was happening was then these attachments were forming, and as I was going in my path and they were kind of going in their path with different beliefs about things and different, it was a lot of energy, because we both were doing energy work. And it was, again, a lack, it was boundaries in the energetic world as well. So I have really strong boundaries when I work with beings, like with spirits, or when I do mediumship readings and stuff. So like, who am I working with? And so what I noticed was there was toxic energy coming into my life, like into my readings or into my reality, into my space, that through these cords started creating physical problems in my life, like in my body. And I was oblivious, really. I didn't know. This was my big, whoa, wake up kind of a moment, when I went to have a past life regression work done, a trade. So it was my turn. And Archangel Metatron came in, and he was like showing me everything that I was just, because I had set myself second and this other person in our relationship first, kept my voice quiet when I should have said, no, that doesn't feel right to me. Then I let all of this energy come into my space. And so he was showing me that and helping me release that relationship. And I still love this person dearly, but it was just like our belief system didn't align. And it was affecting me personally, which then, like, if we're not in a good space, how can we then help others, right? So that was my big, okay, aha moment. Even though I was aware of it, to then let it continue over time, it just wore me down, basically. And that was huge for me. But now I think I've got it. Now I've got it. And even working with clients and just saying, okay, we're having an exchange of time and energy, and the energy exchange through them would be like, you know, the barter system or money, however we work it. But it's kind of like when I first started, I used to give more, like, oh, we booked an hour, but let me give you an hour and 15 minutes, you know? And over time, as that it continued, I physically started getting depleted. My connection became a little bit not as strong, you know, like a little bit fuzzy. I was getting more tired and burnt out, basically, just burnt out. And so putting the boundary of my energy for what we had agreed upon and sticking in those guidelines really, really helped me. But I mean, this can help everybody for whatever they're going through: friendships, family life, career, you know, physical health, all of this. And so
I'm sure everybody's resonating at some levels. I'm sure everyone is resonating over here. Can you tap a heart if you guys are resonating over here? Because
like totally, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And I mean, for you were talking about family, and for me too, it was like family and close friends. Sometimes it's hard to say no, like, okay, I'm just putting this time, I need to, or like a phone call, like now, I love my friends, I talk dearly, and I'm like, okay, well, guess what? My kids are home from school now. My husband just got home from work. So I'm gonna put that boundary so that I can protect my energy and space so I have that to give to them. You know, it's just this other approach of looking at self-love, maintaining our energetic frequency so we can stay like in high vibe and full of energy and be able to do what we need to do to help others as well. So, I see lots of hearts, and thank you everybody for joining. Hi! We have so many friends today. We were all excited to do this live, so I'm glad you guys can make it. Hi Debbie, hi Elijah, hi Lydia, hey! So how about for you, when working with clients, what is one of maybe the biggest challenges or an example of self-love or boundaries that you've been seeing?
Thanks for joining. Thank you.
It's cutting out a little bit. Can you hear me okay? I think there's a delay. Yeah. Okay, so I was just asking if you had an example of working with clients, or maybe something that you've seen recently in your life or with a client that they have noticed a challenge.
Yeah. Have it? Yeah. I hear you. Not a little bit before, but now perfect. Yeah.
Hi everybody, welcome back. We're gonna try this take 2 and we will wait for Dharma to join us. So let me put her info here. Hi Dharma, I see you. Okay, I'm just gonna try and share our info at the top and hopefully spell it right and not mess anything up. So welcome back. We had just a little issue, a little glitch with the connection, and if you've joined me before, you'll notice that sometimes it happens when the energy gets strong or intense, and that's kind of what happened. We were both getting so excited. So we'll just let everybody join. Welcome back. We're going to be inviting Dharma on, and our theme, our topic for today is self-love and boundaries and how that all works together. So if you had a moment where you missed it, you can go back later and watch the first half. And Dharma, just let me know if you're ready to join. I was asking, hi Celeste, I was asking Dharma if she had an example of something that was going on in her life or a client's life where they were struggling or working through self-love or a boundary, just to give some ideas to everybody about different ways that we can view the concept of self-love and maintaining our energetic frequency and our health. Hi everybody, hi November's Child, hi Amelia, hi Cheryl. Okay, Dharma's ready. So Dharma, so we'll try and bring you on. If it cuts out, I'm just gonna like go like this. If it cuts out, and then maybe if it cuts out, what we could do is I could talk for a little bit and then we could pop over to your channel for the second half. So let's try that. Let me invite you on the screen and welcome everybody again. We're so glad you all are here. This is so fun. I just love being able to connect, you know, remotely and with everybody. Oh, here she is. Hi, I can hear you, love. We're here.
Like we have an amazing opportunity, you know what I mean, to just connect together, and we just take advantage of it as much as possible. And if it cuts out, it cuts out, you know what I mean? It's not the end of the world. And, you know, I'm just very happy, you know, to enjoy this moment here together. It's just so beautiful. So your question was about how I deal with my clients when I connect to them and, you know, like Perfect. So, you know, I have very strong boundaries as well because I used not to have them as strong when I was a kid. And in time, you develop, it's you know, it's one of your many, many talents that you have, you know, unlimited talents to develop your own boundaries. And they protect you through everything. And it's very, very important that, especially when you're connecting to somebody, you're actually putting these boundaries on. But for me, I don't even think about it anymore because it just comes automatically. So whenever I connect with a client, this protection comes, you know, right away. You know, I have my angels as well, you know, like protecting me. And, you know, they're just, you know, like, they're probably doing the work for me. Yeah, you guys are doing the work for me. I know that. And but it's very important, the intention. So the intention is always, you know, like to be of service, to just be able to connect to the person in the most pure and in the most simple, in the most soulful way, you know. And so what I do when I connect to people, it's actually just focusing my intention of being of service. So everything that I do is just focus on that intention. All the protection of the boundaries, unfortunately, you know, they just come as a consequence of all the work. I can hear your laugh of before. It's so funny, so beautiful. I hear you laughing from before. And so everything is just a consequence of, you know, it takes time to develop this quality that we all have to develop boundaries. So every single day we can actually become better at doing that. I started as well, you know, with my friends and family. I used to have friendships that, of course, you know, by the law of attraction, you know, they were pushing me to actually work on my, or higher on strengthening my boundaries, you know what I mean? So I had the most energy sucking people, you know, because it's okay, you know, like that's how it was, that's how I learned, you know what I mean? And this is how, why we also met in this lifetime, because we have something to, you know, exchange, you know. So they were teaching me how to actually strengthen certain parts of myself, and I was teaching them how to actually probably overcome that and just go into a different kind of direction, you know what I mean, which is not negativity, essentially, you know what I mean? Like we can face life and face every problem, you know, with the different kinds of mindset, you know, and different kind of intention. So, so yeah, so I started with my family and friends in this way, and by the law of attraction, I found the most. So I had to really work on it. Otherwise, I had moments in which I was so drained, I didn't even have, you know, like the strength to get out of bed. Like this is how much. In my first years of, you know, doing energy work with people, I also had someone that, well, his energy was very strong, and he actually, there was an entity attached to him. So that entity was, you know, like I totally felt like he remained with me every time that the session was over, you know. So it took me, you know, a little bit of time also to strengthen even more boundaries. There is no limit to how much we can actually, you know, progress and strengthen our, you know, our talents. Let's call them talents because really they are, you know, they're gifts, they're talents, and everybody has them, you know, anything, but your heart is exploding because you really would love to communicate that, and your throat chakra is exploding as well because you would love to communicate that. Those are all occasions to just, even if you come out with a little letter that goes like, at least do that, you know. And if you do that every single day, that little letter, that little sound is going to become a roar, you know what I mean? And not necessarily a roar of I hate you, I don't like this. No, it's a roar of expressing yourself and your full self, you know, your full awesomeness, because we all are awesome. And the more we are actually, you know, like just expressing ourselves, and the more we are literally, you know, like not only progressing in our journey, not only, you know, like developing, and not only by developing, I mean only by opening up to love more, you know, opening up to what we are love, you know. So we're opening up this beautiful Pandora box. Let's just imagine in the Pandora box, there is something amazing instead of something negative, you know what I mean? So we all have this gorgeous Pandora box, so you can call it with your name box. And if we just open it by strengthening these boundaries, by voicing our voice, by doing things that we usually don't do because we are afraid of hurting this person, we are afraid of doing this because we don't know how they're going to be reacting, you know what I mean? You know, we can't let ourselves rule by fear. You know, like we all come to a point in which we're like, okay, you know what? Whew, for my sake, my own highest good, I need to express this, and this is going to actually create an opening in them too. So you're going to be helping them opening up their own box as well in that way, even though it's not going to be easy at first, you know, it never is, but it's okay. It becomes easier and easier and easier, and everybody is supported. We all have angels surrounding us. We all have guides surrounding us, and so just ask your guides. Actually, so this is what I also do. You know what I mean? I always ask my guides to be there for me, and even though I know that they are, but you know, when we engage them, it's always better, right, Amy? And it's something beautiful, you know, when we can. Create this protection for ourselves, strengthening our boundaries, and allowing other people to do the same as well. So whatever we grow in our heart is what in the other person as well grows in the dimension that has to grow in themselves, you know, in the depth that has to grow in themselves. And even though we don't notice, this is happening, you know. So yeah, so sage, a lot of sage, you know. Going back, you know, to boundaries and how to actually, you know, like give yourself that love and replenish your energy. You know, if you ever feel drained, you know, I feel like for me, meditation always works. For me, you know, like I have a lot of techniques, you know, that I can, you know, just, you know, let these energies that don't belong to me, these cords, cut them. You know, there are so many things that we can do in order to just less and less difficult to keep these boundaries, you know what I mean? Knowing that boundaries are good. They're not bad at all. You know, you can be open and have your awesome boundaries at the same time, you know? So for me, that was the biggest lesson in my life. That was the biggest lesson, you know, that one of knowing that we can have boundaries and boundaries are not negative. I had a negative connotation in my head, you know, of what boundaries are. And